recording.
Do you know where our pet car
We're
is?
recording.
Yeah.
All right, good morning. It is Wednesday, the 6th of November, and this is second period pre-algebra. Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
Hi, Paige.
So hopefully Paige will be at home watching this later today. If not,
Do you know where you can get rats?
Petco. PetSmart.
what do rats have to do with math?
Nothing.
Nothing.
They'll probably see or hear about it around
Now
Christmas
Paige
time.
is laughing. It's like, oh, Alexander.
Me and Jacob have dubious minds when it comes to grades.
All right. So we are on page 92. Page 92. And yesterday, remember we compared two fractions? And you had to take the two fractions and build them up into equivalents, least common denominators, right? And then you had to look at them and compare them and decide which one, if they were equal, less than, or greater than to each other. But the only way to do that, if they're unlike fractions, is to build them up into equivalent fractions.
My head hurt after that.
You did a good job, though. You guys were on it. You know, you just have to really think about it and make sure you're building them up appropriately. Okay. So now we're going to have a situation where we're looking at two numbers, but one of them is a fraction and one of them's a decimal. So we have to make a choice about what we want to do. Do you need a pen also? All right. Okay. And also, you can have calculators if you'd like. So Paige, you're probably going to want your calculator or your Braille note with your calculator ready. So there's two ways we can do this. And so we're looking at the example number 2. It says compare using decimals. And it has replace the circle with greater or less than, greater than, or equal to make 8/9 compared to 0.8 or 8/10 a true sentence. So what we want to do is, you learned that you could change 8/9 to a decimal. Remember that you learned how to do that in a couple sections ago? How would we change 8/9 to a decimal? What can we do? How do you change? You divide. The 8 divided by 9. So what do we get when we divide 8 by 9?
8 divided by 9 equals 0.8888 all clear.
All right.
0.8, the 8 repeats.
0.888888. So if we compare 0.8, no, careful, 888 repeating to just plain old 0.8, what is it, Alexander?
0.88888 is greater than.
It's greater than, yeah. That's the trick, is if it repeats, you got to remember that that 88888 is going into infinity. The 0.8, 8/10 terminates. And so 8/10 is actually 0.800000. Well, 888 is bigger than 800.
So to write this out.
Yeah, so you'd write 8/9 is greater than 8/9. The original problem is greater than 8/10 is a decimal.
So can we put the decimal of the fraction on the bottom of it?
Well, what's that?
Can we do this for writing it out or not?
You can both. Yeah, do both of them. That's showing your work.
Okay.
But always make sure you're doing the original one. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So let's try it again with the check your progress. And Miss Chris, we're recording this. It's always legal to have to remind everybody we're recording in case you're present. All right, 1/3 compared to 0.3. So 1/3 compared to 0.3. That's little letter D on check your progress. All right, make sure this is under the camera better. Okay.
3 equals 0.33 all clear.
All right, so 0.333, Alexander did the 1/3, converting it to a decimal, 1 divided by 3, 0.333 compared to just plain old 0.3.
1/3 is greater than.
1/3 is greater than 3/10.
Yeah, once you actually understand, it's not that
Yeah, 1/3 is greater than
So do I
3
read it
tenths.
like that?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Wait, is this all that the section's based on? Is this?
This one particular little section, and we got to do some more. We're going to do a real world problem, and then we're going to compare negative rational
So all the
numbers.
steps we're doing is gonna all combine.
Yep. All right. So now the next practice would be little letter E, 0.22 compared to 11/50. So notice they put the fraction on the right. Doesn't matter, does it? We just got to figure out what our fraction decimal equivalent is.
5 0 equal 0.22.
They're equal.
They are equal. Yeah. 11/50. 11 divided by 50 is 0.22. So now we just put our equal indicator in between the two. So 0.22 or 22/100 is the same as 22/100, isn't it? All right. Now, here's another like trickery one on the check your progress. Not too bad, but you just need to pay attention.
You add the.
We have 2 and 5/12 compared to 2.42. Do we really need to focus on those 2's?
No.
No.
They cancel each other out.
They cancel each other out. They're equal. So we're just going to focus on the 5/12 and the 0.42. So what's the decimal equivalent of 5/12?
5 divided by 1 2 equals 0.416666.
0.41666.
Technically, it'd be 2.4.
And yep, 2.4166666. Yep. And then that compared to 2.42 terminated.
The 5/12 is greater.
Be careful. 416 compared to 42. If you put a 0 on the end of that, 416 compared to 420.
It's like 40.
Would you rather have 41 cents or 42 cents?
42.
Yeah, which one's bigger?
400.
The 2.42. Yeah, so 2.416 is smaller than 2.
Oh yeah, because you have the. Okay.
2.4.
See, if it was 2.46, then that'd be different.
Yes, but it's 416. Miss Chris, I'm waiting on them this morning. I got some hot chocolate from my secret pal, and I haven't been doing sugar, so I asked them if they would like hot cocoa this morning. Paige, I would attempt to send you hot cocoa, but I don't think YouTube has figured that out yet. So I'm putting
Wonka vision hasn't been perfected yet with the ladybug. No, unfortunately.
No, we need holograms. So you can hologram it over.
I know it. Yeah, the tech team is working on that, but it
Yeah.
hasn't.
Seriously?
We put in
Yes,
the
absolutely. They're
we put in
working
the
on Wonka
request,
vision.
but I don't know. They're still working on it.
Yeah, Ed's been trying to do it in his spare time, but it's not working.
No Wonka vision.
No Wonka vision
That'd
yet.
be so cool.
Wouldn't that be cool?
All right.
He's been working with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that developed the Wonka vision. Mm-hmm. Yeah. The Oompa Loompas are on strike now, so
The Oompa Loompas are on strike.
we need the Oompa Loompas to help Mr. Ed. So they're on strike right now, I think, along with the government.
If I got it straight, I think this is the caramel cream one.
You think
You
so?
think?
Secret powers are going well.
Yeah.
Ah, excellent.
And
Think.
I think this is vanilla cream. There you go. To your.
Well, if you.
All right.
Yeah, it's more.
Little hot chocolate timeout there. So Paige, you could always pause the video and go get yourself some hot chocolate.
You can hear us again and not.
Well, we're recording it and going to send her the YouTube link.
Oh, excellent.
So we're talking to her like she's here, but she won't see this until tonight.
Oh, hi, Paige.
Miss Chris says hi. Paige is probably saying hi, and everybody's laughing.
Why is it always in this class we either have food or drink?
Well, are you complaining?
I'm not complaining.
Oh,
on
okay,
that.
good.
Otherwise, it really can change.
I know.
No, I'm not complaining.
Don't
on
complain, the
that.
ice cream's too cold.
I'm not a big fan of ice cream.
All right, ready? Let's do the real world example on page 92.
I was reading that. And
Are you reading that?
the-
Okay, we
the
got a.
life average of the average life expectancy of males for several countries are shown on the table. Order the
Countries.
countries from least to greatest in males' life expectancy.
All right, so we have the country and the approximate age. So in Australia, 76.9. In France, 74 and 4/5. So what do we got to do with that 4/5?
Well, it's already been
Divide it to
Divided by-
change it. So what's 4 divided by
74.
5?
74.8.
74.8. Okay. Then Spain is 75 and 1/3.
75.3.
75.33333333. And then the United Kingdom is plain old 75. And then the United States, ooh, we're not doing so good. 74.25.
We need to increase on health.
That's because we eat junk and we don't exercise. That's my theory.
People, I think they think.
We have a lot of weird food in this country that's poisoning us.
Yeah.
That's my theory.
I agree with the theory, and yet they're trying to make us be a healthy country. Well, look at
It's not
They're
working.
rationalizing is what they're doing.
We're getting a little bit better. At least we're doing a lot of education of our youth. Hopefully we're going to raise another generation that they're going to be like, all right, we need to be healthier. But we've had a couple generations that have gone, ugh, I feel bad. Young people, really, really young people that are not healthy.
It's really sad.
All right, so it says least to greatest. So which one is the least?
Well, ours.
Ours.
United Kingdom.
United States is the least.
No.
74.25 is the smallest.
Okay, and
Then what's next?
75.
Nope.
The next one would be
74.8.
74.8, France. Good.
70.
Then 75 with the United Kingdom.
75.333.
And then Spain with 75.33. And then
Then
finally Australia.
And Australia is like.
They're doing all right.
Jeez.
They're almost 3 years above
Wow.
United States.
We need to raise a better.
All right, so
generation.
the deal is with this math-wise, notice what they did. They took the fractions and they made them decimals by doing the division and then compared them as decimals, okay? That's one way to do it. So likewise on the check your progress, it says electronics, the overall width in inches of several widescreen televisions are 38.3, 38 and 3/5. So we got to change that one. What would 38 and 3/5 be?
38.3.
No. How do you change your fraction?
You divide.
You divide. So 3/5.
All clear. 3 divided by 5 equals 0.6.
All right, so we got 38.6. So that's what you're going to want to do is write these down. So 38.3, 38.6. Now we got to do the next number is 38 and 2/3. So what's 2/3 as a decimal?
3. All clear. 2 divided by equal 1.
Ah.
All clear. 2 divided by 3 equals 0.66. All clear.
So 666 repeated. So write down that 38.66 and ... or put a bar over your 6. Okay. Then we have 38.4 repeated, so that's 38.4444444. That one's already changed for us, right? So write that one down.
And 38.
And then 38 and 9/16. So now we got to figure out what 9/16 is.
Divided by 1 6 equals 0.5625.
5625. All right. So now we got to look at all the numbers. Once we write them all down, we got to take a look at all of them. So they all have a 38, so we get to ignore that, don't we? We got to look and find out what's the smallest one when
The 3.
the 3. So 38.3 would be our first one that we would
Then the
list.
6.
No.
How does it go 38.444?
Which one's the next one? 38.44444, right? That's
You want
the
to put these
next
in
one.
order?
Smallest one. Yep, you write them out in order.
Hello.
So 38.3 is the first one you write, because it said least to greatest. Then you write a comma, and then you're going to write 38.444 repeated.
And 38.6.
Nope.
6.
No, 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 no. Look at your list. What's the next one on your list? When you look at the tens place, we had a 3, we had a 4. What's left in the tens place on our two numbers? We have a 6 and a 6 and a 5. 38.5625. That's our 9/16 one. That's the next one. See that?
There's a 5.
5 is smaller than 6. Yeah. Then what do we have for the next one?
Then 38.6.
Then for 8.6, it just stops, right? Then finally, what's the largest one up there?
38.666.
38.66666, right? And that's 2/3. Okay, so that's the least to greatest. It's a lot of work. You got to change them, and you got to look at them, and then you got to list them again. And then if we really wanted to get technical, you'd go back and the ones you changed, you'd have to list as a fraction. I know it. Welcome to advanced mathematics. It gets harder and more involved.
And yet you want us to do geometry next.
Yeah, not for 2 years.
What?
All right.
2 years.
2 years.
Well, this year, next year is going to be pre-algebra part
How are we going
B,
to finish geometry then?
and then
how are we
geometry your senior year.
How would we finish
How would
it?
you
though?
finish it?
We'd be leaving with halfway geometry.
And well, maybe we're going to do all of geometry in a year. You're going to step it up.
Love to see that.
You're going to step it up.
You might be
You might be ready as a senior. All right. So Sophia has 5 wrenches. So we got another check your progress.
Gosh.
Sophia has 5 wrenches measuring 3/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, 5/16 of an inch, 1/2 of an inch, and then 3/4 of an inch. I'm gonna write small, a little bit smaller. Wait. Well, it says 3/8 of an inch,
5 quarters.
1/4,
Where's 1/4?
5/16, 1/2, and 3/4. Now we can do this several ways. They're all fractions, so we could choose to build them up to a common denominator and look at them, or we could choose to do the division in the decimal form. What would our common denominator be of all of these? We have 8, 4, 16, 2, and 4. No, common denominator. Look at your denominators. You have an 8, a 4, a 16, a 2, and a 4. 16 goes into 4.
No, I mean 2.
2 goes into 16 goes into 2.
16. It goes into 8 times. Or no, 8.
No, 16 goes into 8. 8 goes into 16, but 16 doesn't go into 8. A common denominator is a common multiple. Remember? Common multiples. So we need the least common multiple. What are your common multiples of 8? 8.
4.
No, that's a common factor.
16.
8, 16, 24, 32. Okay, what's your multiples of 4? 4, 8, 12, 16. What's your multiples of 16? 16, 32. What's your common multiples of 2? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16. What's your common multiples of 4 again? 4, 8, 12, 16. What do they all share? 16. So we're going to build them up to 16ths. So 3/8 as 16ths. What times 8 is 16?
3.
3 times 8 is 16?
No.
Hold on.
4 times
2.
2.
2 times 8 is 16.
Okay.
So 3 times 2, if you multiply the denominator by 2, you got to multiply the numerator by 2. 3 times 2. So 3/8 equals how many 16ths? Remember you're building up from the other day, yesterday?
I'm just trying to figure out how do you write this all down because when you say it.
3/8. My pen is going.
My pen is too.
So 16ths, right? So 8 times 2 is 16. 3 times 2 is 6. 3/8 is the same as 6/16, right? Okay. All right. 1/4. We have to build that up to 16ths. What times 4 is 16? Paige is probably yelling it out right now.
Wait, what times 4?
What times 4 is 16?
4 times 4 is 16.
4 times 4. So you got to do 1 times 4, the numerator, times 4. So we end up with 4/16. 1/4 is the same as 4/16, because 4 is 1/4 of 16, right? Now 5/16, that stays the same. It already has a 16 as a denominator, doesn't it? All right. 1/2. What's half of 16?
Half of 6 is 3.
Half of 16.
Half of 16.
That's like a-
What times 2 is 16?
8.
8.
So it'd be 1 over
No.
8 over 6.
8 over 16. If you had 16 pieces and you ate 8 of them, you ate half of them, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait.
And then 3/4, we have to build up to 16ths.
Wait, 1 over 16. I really stuck now. Hang on.
You would have to multiply numerator and denominator by 8 over 8. There you go.
Okay, now we're on.
All right, and then 3/4, what times 4 is 16?
4 times 4.
4. So multiply your numerator by 4, and what do you get? 12 over 16. Okay, so now all of your fractions are like fractions. They all have the same denominator. You have 6/16. It's the same as 3/8. 4/16 is the same as a fourth. 5/16 is the same as 5/16. 8/16 is the same as a half, and 12/16 is the same as 3/4. So now that they're all like fractions, all you have to do is look at your numerators, right? So which one is the smallest one when you look at your numerators? 4/16 or 1/4. All right, so that's the smallest one. So you'd list 1/4. Okay. All right, so we got rid of that one. What's the next one in line?
6/16.
Nope.
Wait, what?
Look at your list.
The 8. 8 over 16. The 1 over 2. Or 1/2.
You have 6/16, 5/16, 8/16, and 12/16. Which one is the next one?
Use now.
Look at the
We've
numerator.
already used this one. This is 4/16. What's the next one?
Uh-huh.
Yes. You've already used 4/16, and your next one would be 5/16. You're correct.
Baby.
Okay.
1/2.
And she'll be in the conference room, so you can just.
So now you have
Yeah.
what's left. You have a 6/16, an
Carrie will be working
8/16,
with
and a
Jordan in the
12/16.
conference room.
6.
That's where she's been working with him.
6. Good job.
So Cheryl can just go there. Okay, thanks, bye. So what's the next one?
5/16.
5/16.
6/16.
All right, then, but 6/16 is the same as what? 3/8. So you want to listen 3/8.
You need to write 3/8, right?
All right. So we have 1/4, 5/16, 3/8. What's the next one? 8/16, which is the same as
1/2.
1/2. So you're going to write 1/2. And then finally, what do you have? 3/4, 12/16. Good.
Miss
All right.
Isaacson,
Yes.
can I have another pen? Pen stopped
Oh,
working.
did it stop working?
You use a lot of paper.
Me?
No, for these we're using a lot of paper. For
I was
this.
gonna say no.
That's math. Sometimes you do.
Sure enough, look at that poor little Pinky's almost gone. I think Neary left this pen.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
she loved pink. It's almost
She did
gone.
love home invasion.
Yep. Okay, so that took some work. You had to build up your equivalent fractions, and then you had to take a look at them again. And when you write your list, you want to use the original fraction. Okay? All right? All right, we're on page 93 now. Got some number lines to look at. This page, you're going to have probably 93, probably be a page break somewhere. I didn't grab the Braille. And it's up at the top of the print page 93. It should say there's a couple of number lines to look at. And it shows positive and negative numbers, but using rational numbers, so fractions. So just as positive and negative integers can be represented on a number line, so can positive and negative rational numbers. Notice we have a 0, and then it goes negative 1/10, negative 2/10, negative 3/10, negative 4/10 to the left, and then positive 1/10, positive 2/10, positive 3/10, positive 4/10 to the right. Okay, and also it shows the number line below it has it in decimal equivalent. So negative 0.1, which is 1/10, negative 0.2, which is 2/10.
What, you skipped negative 0.3?
Negative 0.3, which is 3/10, and negative 0.4, which is 4/10. And then if you go to the right, you have positive 0.1, or 1/10, 0.2, or 2/10, and 0.3, or 3/10, and 0.4, or 4/10. Okay, so just reminding you that number lines don't have to be whole numbers. We can break them up, right, like a ruler. So now we're going to compare negative rational numbers to each other. So you've been comparing negative numbers before. Now we're just going to add fractions to the mix. Okay. So example 4 has us compare negative 2 and 4/10 to negative 2 and 45/100.
Wait, what?
Number 4 has us comparing negative 2 and 4/10 to negative 2 and 45/100. Now, when you have two rational numbers, negative 2.4 compared to negative 2 and 45/100, it's always sometimes a good idea that if we have two places to the right of the decimal on one digit, we make two places to the right of the decimal with the other one. So the negative 2.4 could also be negative 2.40. That's the same thing, isn't it? Compared to negative 2.45. Now be very careful, these are both negatives. So which one is greater? Not in negative land.
Oh, no, sorry, closest.
Closest to 0. So
it
is
would be the negative 2.4.
negative 2.4 is closest to 0. So that's actually greater than, isn't it? So negative 2.4 is greater than negative 2.45. So you got to put your brains on very carefully with these, and remember, if they're both negative, the one closest to 0 is greater. If they're both positive, the one furthest away from 0 is greater. So negative 2.4, 2.40 is actually closer. I'd rather owe somebody $2.40 than owe them $2.45. Okay, super careful on those. Now, same way with fractions. So look at the example below that, number 5. It says to compare negative 7/8 to negative 6/8. Now they were really nice on this one, and notice how they're both the same denominator, so we don't have to do any building up. So we just have to compare the negative 7 compared to the negative 6.
6 is greater.
Negative 6 is greater than negative 7. So the way they wrote it, we would have to say negative 7 is less than, right? Negative 6/8. So again, negative 7 is less than negative 6, right? Yeah.
9 to 12.
So check your progress, little letter I.
Answer to number I.
It says negative 9/12 compared to negative 12/16. Now, we're stuck for a minute here. we got two different denominators.
You have to do
We either have to do the building up or we have to change them to decimals.
change to decimal.
You're gonna change it to decimals?
Yes.
All right, fair enough. So what is 9?
1, 2 equals 0.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I was gonna
I
say,
read
I
this
think
wrong.
they're
It's
the same.
16ths. 16ths. I'm sorry. They're the same. 9/16 compared to negative 12/16. My brain saw a 12 on that first one.
The 9/16 is greater than
The 9/16 is greater than negative 12/16. Good. Negative 9/16 is greater than negative 12/16. Okay, sorry about that.
Oh, negative 3.45 compared to negative 3.7. Negative 3.5.
All right, so the next one is negative 3.15 compared to negative 3.17. Which one?
3.15 is greater.
Negative 3.15 is greater than negative 3.17 because we're closer to the 0 on negative land. Now, finally, on K, we got to do a little bit of buildup, don't we? Not too bad. Negative 7/10 compared to negative 4/5. So we don't have like fractions. We need to build them up. What common denominator can we use? You can change. You could also do a decimal if you'd like. Sure. Negative 7 divided by 10.
1, 0 equals 0.7.
So negative 0.7 compared to what's 4 divided by 8.
4 divided by 8 equals 0.5.
Oops, 4 divided by 5? Not 4 divided by 8, 4 divided by 5.
All clear. 4 divided by 5 equals 0.8.
There you go, negative 0.8.
The negative 0.7 is greater.
Negative 0.7 is greater, or 7/10 is greater than negative 4/5. Negative 7/10 is greater than negative 4/5. Now, if you wanted to build it up, you could have built up your 4/5 to tenths.
So it would be 40
So-
over
No, 5 times 2 is 10, so 4 times 2 is 8. You would have had 8/10 compared to 7/10. And 7/10 is greater in the negative land. Okay.
Would they allow you, if you
All
had
right.
this problem in college, would they let you do the decimal?
If you're allowed to use a calculator. Sometimes you're not allowed to use a calculator, so it's easier to do the fraction than it is to do the division of the decimal. Yeah, because then you're just building up whole numbers, whole factors.
Oh my
All right,
God.
so class is going to end. I would like you guys to do some homework today. So I want you to do page 93, number 1 through 9. It's not very hard.
Where's
Number 1 through 9.
So basically the section that
Yep. So page 93, number 1 through 9. It's pretty simple, pretty basic. You'll finish it pretty quickly. Okay? You have a book at home, Miss Heather?
Yes.
Okay. All right. The bell's going to ring probably in about a minute, so we'll go ahead and end class. So Paige, we will record tomorrow's lesson. We're probably going to do a little bit more practice of this and then move on into 2-3. And start that, and then Friday finish 2-3. Okay?
Good chocolate.
All right. So we'll send you a link tomorrow, Paige. Have a good day.
Bye, Paige.
Everybody say bye.
Bye, Paige.
Bye, Paige.